eating pizza. DiGiorno's, get the door, it's the best. Oh, let me get my screen thing going on here. Beep, boop, beep. Oh, shit. Start recording now. All right, so this is something that you're either going to have never heard of, like me, I'd never heard of this, or you'll be someone who is like, yeah, duh, killer, everyone knows that. But I'm gonna share it anyways because I thought it was really cool. So back between the, I guess it would have been the 40s and the early 60s when the United States was testing a lot of nuclear weapons, there was a series of tests that all took place at these islands known as the Atoll Islands. So the Atoll Islands that are marked by this nice little red point there, are between, here's Hawaii, this thing over here, and then here's obvious Australia. So this is kind of in the middle of the ocean. But if we zoom in here, you'll see a series of these kind of islandy areas. And these were all very, very lightly inhabited, specifically Bikini Atoll. However, the one that is the most bombs were dropped on was this Eniwetok, I don't know how to say it, atoll. Now they were dropping bombs both above, middle of the air, under the ocean, on the water, all kinds of different things. And one of the reasons they picked that area is because the ground was very, very flat and even, so they could not only secure the bomb to the base of the ocean, but they could also measure sort of the underwater kind of destruction that it would create to the surface of the ocean. But the one bomb towards the end of this whole particular series of tests created this giant crater right here. You'll see there's two of them, but this one is actually a tomb, as you can see by the label. Now what that is they actually shoveled a tremendous amount of radioactive material and earth and leftover products from these bombs, and they put it in that hole and secured over it. Couple issues with that. Well, first of all, remind you that this is holding an equivalent amount of radiation similar to Chernobyl. It gets dicey because they actually ran out of funding conveniently for the cleanup. So they put this big cement cover over it, just kind of thinking, well, we'll figure it out later. So it was never meant to be a permanent solution, and they didn't cement the ground. So as the sea levels have risen over time, thanks to global warming, the ocean is actually starting to penetrate that tomb under it and wash out radiation into the ocean, doubling down on the fact that the top of it, because it was never really engineered to last, 30, 40 years, that cement is starting to crumble and fall apart. So it's kind of this beautiful combination between, both our failures as trying to understand nuclear physics and our failures trying to understand our impact on nature. So it's like a double whammy of our failures sort of happening at once. This is gonna be underwater in a few years, and it's gonna release this unbelievable amount of radiation. And just to give you a sense of how powerful these nuclear weapons were, when they detonated the one that created this crater, it actually was strong enough to create a 2-hour blackout all the way in Hawaii and a 9-hour blackout in Australia. Now I'll leave you with one more fun little connection. You'll notice again, I'm gonna come back over here to Bikini Atoll. So these Bikini Islands actually had inhabitants, and you can see they have inhabitants to this day. It's just a small settlement. I'm pretty sure these are palm plants, by the way, that they are growing, but anyways, they pretty much forced the locals there when they were doing these tests to evacuate, because not only so much of the radiation that they might receive, but they were concerned that because the flash point of these particular bombs was so bright, they thought they would just make that entire population go blind because they would end up looking at the bomb when it detonated. Not too many years later, they invited all those locals back to the island, and it was sort of unofficially discussed that one of the reasons that they were letting them back onto the island, even though it wasn't really safe yet, was because they sort of wanted to see what some of these longer term effects of radiation poisoning would look like. So people still live on that island, but here's the even fun part is there's a good fan theory that Bikini Bottom of SpongeBob, the reason why they are all talking animals is because they are at the floor of what would be an incredibly irradiated seafloor bed. So just something fun to think about. Anyways, I thought that whole topic was very interesting. Went down a rabbit hole about it last night before bed.